meditate, we come into communion not only with our own true self, one that may be buried very deep beneath our negative and afflictive emotions, but also, and therefore, with all others who are willing to be in communion with us. That's why we meditate, is to deepen and extend that experience of communion with ourselves and with others.
In our own time, our own society, we're always running. We always need to get somewhere in the future. We're not content with being in the present moment. But if we practice walking meditation, every step brings us back to the present moment. And the present moment is the only moment when I can really be alive. It is the most wonderful moment of my life.
You know, in Cairo, for example, at Ramadan, all of a sudden everything stops. You know, Ramadan, everything, the buses, cars, everything stops. People put their carpets on the floor, on the ground, and there they are prostrating. If you get into their consciousness, or if you just watch them, you find people transfigured. People, gross people, brutal, transfigured. It's the most powerful thing there is in the world. Now, what people in the Catholic Church coming up from after communion, the way they walk back to their seat, how they're carrying something of the presence of God in their heart.
When you keep the mind so calm and clean, it becomes a beautiful mirror. In that mirror, you see yourself, and to know who you are. That is the goal behind all the so many approaches. To know who you are, because God made everybody and everything in God's image.
Meditation's a very good deep scrub. It clears the mind and opens the heart. You were walking down the block, and one day, just the way that the light shone through a droplet on a leaf, and suddenly the stargate of eternity opened. And you discovered what? What did you learn? All is one. Silence, that there's no, at that moment there's no sound. But it's woven together. And there's change, and there's freedom. And completeness. The word in Hebrew for completion, completeness, it's shalom. There is completeness. There is wholeness. There is the sound of sheer silence. It is all woven together, and all is one.
I have arrived, I am home. Every time I place my step, I arrive in that step. I arrive in the present moment. And then I am present. I am present for everything wonderful in me and around me. when I am upset, when I am angry, it's the same. I may not feel so wonderful, but I still have the capacity to arrive in every step. And that can make me feel better, feel more calm. I have arrived. I am home. Of course, my true home is myself, my Buddha nature. That is my true home. My body, my feelings, my perceptions, my mental formations, and my consciousness. It is my true home when I don't grasp to them as a separate self. I have arrived. I am home.
Jesus begins his teaching in the Gospel by saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And that, I think, is what meditation, in any tradition, is ultimately responding to. The fact that the kingdom is at hand. And it's only necessary for us to traverse an area of wasteland that's filled with our fears and our desires, our memories and our plans, and the rubble of our imagination. We just have to cross that wasteland to reclaim the lost space of the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven. That teaching of Jesus is, I think, at the heart of meditation. Other traditions come to that, explain it in different ways, and maybe we could dialogue later about what are the parallels to that teaching of Jesus. The kingdom of heaven is now. Just put out your hand a little bit and touch it, and it's there.
We are a condition of God. If you like, we're a condition of the universe. So we're not the universe. I mean, just like a wave is a condition of the sea. A wave is not the sea, but still it is a condition of the sea. So, but it's of the same nature as the sea. So let us say that that is what we are. So that establishes a connection with that reality which we call God, which is much more vital than thinking of God up there, unreachable. A projection of our imagination. So we're talking about experience. Actually, one fails to honor the fact that the whole universe is continually trying to reveal its intention, or say God trying to reveal her intention in your understanding. But you stand in the way by your understanding. I say you, I mean we stand in the way of the way that the universe is trying to reveal its intention. We block it by our own understanding, which we're convinced about. That's why even Rabbi says, knowledge as a veil upon the known. And Nifari said, why are you seeking for the known when you could know the knower? And Gillia goes as far as to say, why are you looking for God up there? He is here.
So we don't have to worry about God or make yourself a God again. You're already God. All you have to do is to make your mind clean. No agitations. That is the goal behind all the different religions, different approaches. Keep the mind calm, keep the mind clean, keep the mind calm. How do you do it? That's where the meditation comes in.
Basically, meditation is, of course, about coming to silence, to stillness, and to simplicity. By silence, we don't just mean the absence of physical noise, but we mean the focusing of our attention, the coming to single-pointedness of mind. Set your mind upon the kingdom before everything else, Jesus said. By stillness, we don't just mean physical stillness, although that is very important, and meditation is an incarnational form of prayer. But by stillness, we also mean a capacity of the mind to rest in wakefulness without trying to grasp or possess any idea or being distracted by any desire or fear. And by simplicity, we mean the childlikeness of not analyzing yourself to death.
Of course, the yoga talks about starting with the body. It's very difficult to calm the mind right away. You begin with the body. Clean the body, calm the body, steady the body, balance the body. And then balance the breath by pranayama. Then balance the senses. And ultimately try to balance the mind. Gradually, from the gross to the subtle.
If you sit in your room after a very stressful day, you sit there and of course your thoughts are going to invade your mind and cause a lot of turbulence, emotion, because the thoughts are emotionally charged. So it's no use trying to control your thoughts. You won't be able to do it unless you go through a lot of training in yoga. Try to grasp what are the qualities that are trying to emerge from within rather than thinking of the circumstances in your relationship with the outer world. By turning your attention toward that particular quality, you will help it to emerge. Otherwise, it will be stillborn.
You think of a rose. Nice rose. You want to meditate on it or concentrate on it. In a few seconds, that is the rose that guy sent me last month. What happened to him? He never sent it again. See? I should call him. And then you realize, what? I'm supposed to be thinking of his rose. I'm thinking of the guy now. Come on, get back to rose. That's what you call concentration. Mind takes one thing, but runs somewhere else. Then bring it back to that point again. And then it won't stay there. It will run away in other direction. Keep on running, and you are bringing it back. You practice that first. That's called dharana or concentration. It takes a long time, but it's worth. Ultimately, you succeed. The staying with the rose will be a little longer. The running will be less. When you are able to achieve that for a little fair amount of time, you are calling it meditation.
The practice of prayer in our communities is often called davening. Davening is a kind of magical word. It means the synthesis of chant and sacred text with light body motion, which is designed to assist us in riding the carrier wave of the melody into the deepest unfolding of the text. The light body movement, along with the chant and prayer, induce what one might call a light altered state of consciousness, which enables us to do some really deep inner work, riding the carrier wave of that melody.
Pick up one sound, keep it repeating. Let that vibration slowly pervade your entire body and mind. In the beginning, you may have to do some work. If you keep doing work, at certain time, they will take over you. It's almost like a baby. You bring the baby up to a nice adulthood, and then the baby takes care of you. So you take care of the mantra first, and then the mantra takes care of you later. The day starts with mantra, ends with mantra. In between, it's filled with mantra. It's a very simple practice. Anybody can do without any restriction. That will calm the mind, clean the mind.
The way that our community teaches is to take a single word, a short phrase, a mantra, and to repeat this faithfully and continually throughout the time of the meditation, letting go of any other thoughts or feelings. When you find yourself distracted, when, not if, when you find yourself distracted, just come back immediately, without analyzing where you've been, to your word, and start repeating it again. Over time, the word takes, as in the hesychastic tradition, the Jesus prayer, the word roots itself in your heart, it opens up the prayer of the heart, and it connects you with this deeper level of the spirit within yourself. So you need to stay with the same word from the beginning to the end of the meditation, and above all, to meditate regularly every day. And the breath itself is the supreme teaching, really, about meditation. As you breathe in, you receive the gift of life from its mysterious source. And because it's a gift, you can't hold it indefinitely. You have to let it go again. So we return the gift, we let it go. John Main said that meditation is as natural to the spirit as breathing is to the body.
So, my friends, how do you say God's name? Which, if you're a typical person, the very next thing you have to do is wow. It seems that the only way that I can name the one beyond name is with my breath.
In Buddhism, we always start off with our body, and then we go from our body onto our mind. So breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. And at first, my breath is not very calm. It's short because I am emotionally upset. But gradually, after I follow my breathing deep down in my belly, because I want to bring my energy down from my head to a place where there's not so much thinking and agitation. So I bring my attention down deep into my belly. I feel my belly rising as I breathe in, falling as I breathe out. And my breath calms, my breath becomes more calm. And my breath is a function of my body. And when my body is calm, my breath is calm, then my mind can become calm also. So when we practice calming, we can do so on our cushion, practicing calming our feelings with our breathing. But we can also do so outside in nature, on our feet. In walking meditation, I walk in order to walk and nothing else. I place every foot to make a seal on the earth, a seal of peace on the earth. Maybe the greatest contribution to peace I can make today is to take peaceful steps on this planet Earth.
I don't know whether you feel like it, but I do retire from the world and live in a cave in the Himalayas. I've lived in a cave in the Himalayas, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful. I mean, it's not as stressful as living in New York. But that's not within our hand. In fact, I would say that the next step in the spirituality, announcing the spirituality of the millennium, is the awakening of conscience instead of consciousness. And that's what's happening. People are beginning to awaken to their conscience. And that happens when, instead of being enclosed in one's personal resentment, one's heart is broken by the sufferings of people around. The homeless, the victims of drugs and so on, AIDS, the famine, politics. That's the reason why His Holiness the Dalai Lama is highlighting that word compassion. Compassion means suffering with, sharing with the sufferings of people. And that purifies the heart from selfishness and greed. And after that, one can't wallow in one's own personal problems. They're nothing in comparison with what's happening in the world. Nothing.
Aware of the suffering caused by the destruction of life. I make a deep aspiration to cultivate compassion and find ways to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I am determined not to kill, not to allow others to kill, and not to condone acts of killing in the world by my thinking and in my way of life.
We will all experience today and over the next 30 years, or however long we continue to meditate, the same fruits. And those fruits of meditation are usually described in the same, remarkably similar language in all the traditions. A good way for the Christian to understand it is what St. Paul calls the fruit of the Spirit, the harvest of the Spirit. And he lists these almost directly out of the Dhammapada, I think. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, fidelity, gentleness, and self-control. Those are the fruits of meditation.
Mere meditation alone is not enough. That's what I'm trying to say. In meditation, you are preparing yourself to be a good instrument, clean instrument, to be useful, to be serviceful. That's our purpose. That's our purpose. Read any scriptures of any religion. They all say that. Have you ever seen the cow drinking its own milk? It gives a little to the calf, but all the rest comes to us. The calf is an excuse. It gives it to everybody. So the fruit of the meditation of the cow is shared with everybody. We should learn that from the cow. That's what meditation means. St. Francis of Assisi well said, God, make me the instrument. Yes. We are all instruments of God, instruments of God. We came here to fulfill God's purpose.
Meditation is a universal spiritual practice. You find it in all the great religious traditions. These religious traditions, when we are in touch with this spiritual core or contemplative heart, are able to speak to each other, relate to each other, and work together, ultimately, for the good of the world. And meditation is why we are here today. We wouldn't be here without it. Or we would only be here just to make speeches at each other and sort of exchange diplomatic platitudes. But if there's to be real dialogue, real understanding, then it has to be conducted from this level, depth, or come out of this depth of shared meditation. So meditating together seems to me to be the great discovery, really, of our time.
We are so close together. I mean, our language may differ. We may entertain different dogmas, and we might discuss those differences, but in fact, if you start discussing them, I have spent my life doing it, and I realize that, in fact, at first, one thinks that they are contradictory, and eventually one realizes that we're talking the same thing but a different language.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. And inside I'm also singing Allahu, Allahu, La ilaha illallah. There are more songs that want to be added in. Maybe Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om.
We open up our heart and we allow the words to fall like rain on the deeper level of our consciousness. And then we will learn from each other if we're ready to listen deeply in that way.
There are so many approaches for meditation. That's why you are here to learn every way. All the masters will come and tell you. Of course, they will give you different approaches, but you are not going to practice all those approaches. Gather the information. Go home. Think like the cow. Which one is best suited for me, my nature, my temperament, my taste? We are not going to say, this is the only way. That's all long gone. The only way. Pick up any way you want. Like eat any food you want. Satisfy your hunger.
The chant is a gateway into the silence that follows. In the silence that follows, please, you are all involved in some meditation practice or other. And if it works for you, to allow the chant to take you into your regular practice, your regular breathing practice. As we say in our trade, Baruch Hashem. So may it be for blessing.
Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you and God bless you. Bless you.
Meditation is such a internal experience. It's hard to put into words. It lifts us, it cleans us. I don't know what I'd do without it. I couldn't live without it.
I think the object of it is really to connect with the universe on the deepest level. Well, I mean, all of these things around us, these trees and the squirrels and these characters, they're all meditating. I mean, they're in that state in which they are not blocking anything. They just, the next thing that it's supposed to happen will happen.
If we think of ourselves as different, it's easy for us to do something of harm to another person. If we think of ourselves as being basically the same, then it's easier for us to be nice to one another.
To really achieve a deep level of interfaith understanding, we need to meditate together. And the experience of this meditation, we're learning meditation practice from different traditions, but we're also having the wonderful experience of meditating together.